The Affinity apps have this concept of child layering, which is where you can place layers within other layers. And we have two distinct behaviors for this. There's clipping and masking. Let's look at the differences between the two. Okay, so here I've got a new document and I've pasted an image in, which we can see across on the Layers panel here. Okay, now the easiest way for me to demonstrate the difference between masking and clipping is to add a shape like an ellipse. Okay, and I'm just going to hold Shift to constrain it, release the mouse button, and then also I'm going to reposition it using the Move tool. I'm going to turn on snapping so that I can position it in the center of the document. Okay, so if I were to then take this ellipse on the Layers panel, just click drag and offer it to the thumbnail of my pixel layer, like so, then release the mouse button, the ellipse becomes a mask. So the pixel layer, the street render, content gets clipped to this ellipse. Now, if I were to drag it out, so it's on its own in the layer stack again, and this time I were to click drag and offer it to the layer text and not the thumbnail, okay, this time it becomes clipped to the pixel layer. So if I select the pixel layer and move it around, you'll see the ellipse stays with it. And also, if I select the ellipse, and I'll just add a stroke to demonstrate this, and I then move it outside of the boundaries of the pixel layer, you'll see it's clipped to those boundaries. Okay, I'll just reposition that and then move the ellipse back out. So we could do this the other way around. We could offer the pixel layer to the ellipse as a clipping layer. Okay, so I just dropped it over the text area of the ellipse. And it behaves much the same as when we masked the ellipse to the pixel layer. Only this time I can select the ellipse and move it around. Or I could select the pixel layer and move it around inside the ellipse. So now the pixel layer is being clipped to the boundaries of the ellipse shape. Okay, and I'll just reposition that to the center. So another use for clipping and masking is to isolate adjustments and live filters to specific layers. For example, in this document, we have this woman. It's a cutout that I've put into this document. And we need to make her match the background tonally. So one way to do this is to just select the woman cutout, and then we'll go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, add a Brightness and Contrast adjustment. Okay, and then we will click drag and offer it to the woman cutout layer. Now I'm going to offer it as a clipping layer, so I'm going to drop it over the text here, and you'll see I get the horizontal blue bar. Okay, so let's just tweak the adjustment. Let's reduce the brightness and increase the contrast. And as we can see, it's only affecting the woman cutout layer. Okay, if I just hide it, you can see the before and the after. Let's also do the same to this bike over here. So I'll select the bike, expand it, and we can see I've actually already added a brightness and contrast adjustment, but we're also going to add some live motion blur. Now with the bike selected, we can go to Layer, New Live Filter Layer, Blur, and choose Motion Blur. Now by default, live filter layers become child layers of whichever layer we have selected, and it's actually placed as if it were a mask layer. But when it comes to adjustments and filters, you can child layer them either as masking or clipping layers, and they will behave the same. That is to say, their effect will be restricted to the boundaries of the parent layer. So with the live motion blur here, I can just start click dragging like so to add the blur. Then close that dialog down, and of course it's only affecting that bike layer. Okay, so that was just a quick look at masking and clipping layers within Affinity Photo.